All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Um, I was on Instagram live earlier, and I had every intention on discussing this topic. And I started talking about my new business, and I started talking about a bunch of other stuff, and I totally forgot it. And listen, it's Sunday evening, it's daylight savings time, which I think is so stupid. I can't stand it. And so it's dark, it's late. I was about to just kind of shut it down and chill for the rest of the evening. And you all hit me up saying, you said you were going to talk about this subject. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it real quick, jump out here on this live. So just go like and subscribe to the channel. And you all, it's not going to be that many of y'all on here because I I didn't plan on doing this today. But if you're here and you want to be in the chat, that's fine. But this is what we're going to talk about. Somebody entitled their question, what do you do when predators are nice people, or when nice people become predators? And anybody who's experienced a decent amount of, success in their business, in their life, have probably had to deal with this, where you get people who are service providers and they come and they pitch you their services and they want to be a part of your team. They charge you money and you pay them and nothing happens. And for a lot of our entrepreneurs, they ain't trying to play that game. I've seen y'all out here in the chat going, I ain't playing that. But how do you deal with it? And so let me just break it down a little bit. And I'll just tell you, you guys know, I always tell you how I deal with it. And, you can make a decision, but I have no problem sharing my philosophy on it. I'm the kind of person, when I do business, I like partnerships. Okay. And I like productivity. So I'm the kind of person, if I eat, the people with me eat. But I'm very careful that you can't just come and hang out and do nothing and expect to eat when the project pipeline starts to flow, right? And so, and this is different from if you have somebody that's close to you or a service provider and they kind of fall on hard times. We all get ebbs and flows in our businesses, and sometimes we go through these pockets where it's really a tough time. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's really a corporate mentality, and it also can be a predator mentality, depending on which one is leading. So you may have somebody that comes to you and they say, look, I'm an agent, I'm a manager. And by the way, this is just my opinion. I think in today's day and time, with everything being digital and online, if you are a talent or like an artist in whatever capacity, you don't need a handler and you don't need a manager. And let me tell you why. I'm going to cover this first. This is my opinion. Because managers generally only get 10%, unless they're a partner. So if I was a talent, in many cases, I'm a talent, people who say, well, hey, I want to handle this or that for you, then I like to make sure that there's somebody that I would want to do a partnership with, so that when the cash starts to flow, they can make money as I make money. Because 10% is way too low for the amount of work that you have to do. And the way that system is set up, it's only a matter of time that you're going to get some bitterness. So it ain't that hard to just, and I think artists and talents, we have to be business people about it. You can't just lay back and chill like you're already at the multi-million-dollar distribution status. And I would push that as long as you can. And then those people who come into your organization and handle certain things, whether they call themselves a manager, a coordinator, a facilitator, an agent, or whatever, then there's cash flow for you to be able to compensate them. You'll never get to the point where when your money comes in, because remember, when you're waiting for the ship to come in, you've been waiting as long as they've been waiting. So let's say you make $100,000 and they only get 10%. Some managers that have been the face of your brand and your business are going to have a problem with that. And so when you fold that forward into the work that we do as entrepreneurs, and you think about bringing in a PR agent or some other service provider, a marketing person, a salesperson, I believe when you're in the beginning stages of your business, you need to look for people that eat when you eat. You may have some administrative people that you definitely got to make sure you take care of because they're not part necessarily of the revenue stream. But for me, what I do is I even make sure they're a part of the revenue stream. And the reason why I say this is because here's what happened. And I've been burned by this so many times. You meet somebody and they're a great person. They present well. They seem to have good credentials. They seem like they really like you and want to help you and see you be successful. And you hire them. You pay the retainer. Maybe it's $1,000. Maybe it's $5,000. I don't know. You pay that money and you say, okay, we're on board. And then they get on board and they produce absolutely nothing. Now you find yourself having to, and that kind of person is going to fall out with you and your relationship is going to change because they're getting something for nothing. And when you get hip to the game and you got to let them go, they're probably not going to be as tight with you as they were before. So it's always better to say, hey, listen, I want to bring you on board as this service provider. But right now, the stage I am in my business where, when I eat, you eat. This is going to help you discern the people who are predators. Reason why I say that is because, and I tell people, I say it like this. If you give me a speaking engagement, you put me in front of a client, you introduce me, and I'm eating off of that, then I'm going to make sure that you eat. So when the flow comes in, we're going to sit down and I'm going to let you know what the percentage is, or we may even decide the percentage up front. That way, if nothing is produced, you can walk away with clean hands and it's nothing wrong. But when you start giving people money and they start being emotionally attached to that money, I don't care if it's $100, $200, $300, $3,000, $5,000, $50,000. You start giving them that on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis, a monthly basis, however you're required to do it, and they don't do anything for it, then their emotional attachment is to nothing. And so when you cut them off, because one day you just go, hey, you know what? You're not really producing anything. They're going to be mad at you. And so I want you to be careful because oftentimes those are people that we love. Those are people that want to come in and help and who say, hey, I want to be of service. Be careful with that. Especially if you're an artist, you're a talent. You don't need a manager if you're just starting out. What you need is a business partner. What you need is somebody that's going to go out and put you in front of checks and y'all can chop the money up together. You need somebody who's going to get you gigs. You need somebody who's going to put you in front of some deals. But you don't need a traditional manager that's just there chilling. I'm just saying things are different. So, it's not like, you selling CDs out of the trunk. Most of the stuff nowadays is downloads. So the person who works with you as a talent needs to be somebody who eats with you and understands that, and they don't eat before you eat. See, this is how you get yourself in murky water. So listen, stop paying people that are not producing. Even if you pay them and they're not producing, let it be for another reason. Maybe it's because it's a family member and you just love them like that. Maybe it's because, it's a parent or a child and you're like, look, this is my baby. I'm gonna do it. Maybe it's your husband or your wife, and you say, hey, I don't care. I'm gonna just chop up with them. That's different. And we all got those, right? We got I have certain members of my family. When I eat, they gonna eat. I'm gonna do something to share and spread it out with them. And the more I eat, the more they're gonna eat. But stop bringing people around your organization for the ego. Just to say you got an agent, just to say you got a PR person, you got an attorney, you got it this, you got it that. When you're paying them and they're not producing. That's a very, very dangerous thing. And a lot of people don't think about that. People worry about, from an ego standpoint, not being able to pay somebody. That's an issue too. But these people should be around to help you produce. You should only have producers around you, especially if you're just starting in your career. But for me, at the end of the day, I'm not just starting, but I like producers around me. Because I've been in situations where I've had people just kind of hanging out, and I find myself, I'm paying this one $1,000 every 2 weeks, and this one $500, and this one $1,500 a month, and blah, 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 blah. And when I look down the roster and look at the team, they're there, they're around, but my career and what I'm doing is not advancing. Maybe I haven't closed any more deals. And so you got to be able to kind of soldier your way through that, because oftentimes people like that get in because they talk about you, right? So they'll call you and they'll say, you know what? I was looking at that press release you put out and it was so raggedy. And I was like, sister needs some help. And so I just want to offer you my services, and I charge $1,000 a month. See, is why I say, beware of that kind of thing. Because if it was me, this is how I do business. If I know you and you put something out and I think it's raggedy, or I think I can help you improve it, I'm going to come to you and make a suggestion. Hey, this is how you need to improve that. I'm going to let you see that I'm results driven and that I can offer you advice that makes sense. I'm always coming with receipts. I'm always coming with something that makes sense. So then later when you say, hey, what's it going to take to have you help me all the time? Then I'll say, well, this is what we'll do. And I never try to propose something where I'm not results driven. So that becomes tough to navigate through, because that's how they normally do. They try to shame you. They try to say, hey, I noticed that, your hair don't be on point. You don't be looking right. Okay. But, and some of us get embarrassed by that. We feel a certain way. We don't like nobody to see us struggling. For me, I'm like this. I ain't thinking about you in my struggle. What I'm thinking about is what I got to do to get this thing done and line up, with Almighty God Allah, so that I can receive and stand in front of that flow of money. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about who I need to be on the inside to make this thing happen. See, because with each level that we go to, we have to become a different person in order to level up. And so for me, I shoot for the stars. So I'm shooting for a very high end project or a high level that I'm going to go and try to become a person at that level. But be very careful about that. I hear some people saying, well, I just don't have the discernment. And sometimes maybe you don't. Sometimes maybe you just don't have the discernment, because discernment is one of those things, you either have it or you don't. It's not a tool that you get, that you use, you just have it. And so what I say to you is that make it production driven. Make it production driven. Okay. Because otherwise you get a lot of people. This is the world we live in. People go, they fill out an application for a job. They get hired, they get that $50,000, $90,000, $150,000, $250,000 a year, and they try to do as little as possible for as much money as possible. For you and I as entrepreneurs, we can't absorb that. They're gonna be gone for it. They try to call out. They just try to. It's just a game. It's how we play it. And oftentimes they're good people. That's why I say when good people become predators, because we've been taught that the predatory way of doing business is the preferred way of doing business. And so you have good people out here being predators, and they may not even know it or intend it. They're just doing what they've seen other people do. So they come, if I put out an application right now and say, hey, I need sales reps and I'm paying $100,000 a year, or even if I said I was paying $25,000 a year, I guarantee you I would get a lot of applications. But the question becomes, how many of those applications are going to be people with the right sales skills who can actually sell something and make it happen? Probably not that many. Maybe I might be lucky to get one or two, probably out of 100. But if you bring people on board and you tell people, listen, I am building this business. If you help me build, then we both gonna eat. That's gonna help you figure out who's just there for the change and who is really there to really help you take this thing to the next level and wants to be a part of the building process. And if you're in business and you're always building and developing, you want builders. You want builders on your side. I was watching Oprah Winfrey many years ago talk about how one of the best things that happened to her is that her president was a builder and a developer, somebody who was able to push the envelope forward or push the wheel forward, push the project and the business forward. That's what you want. So while you're out here being the talent, or you're out here doing whatever it is you got to do, you want somebody back at the office that not only can hold things together, but they can push things to that next level. And so you want to start by making sure that you snuff out people who are developers versus people who are predators. And being a predator doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. They might be somebody you've known for years and they're really cool, but they really just looking for that $50,000 a year. And they really just looking, and you can tell because you hear language like, and this is, let me say it this way. Let me get some tea. Broke my nail today. All right. So this is something you have to be mindful of. A lot of people cannot build with you in your startup business. A lot of people are just looking for a job, and that's okay. But it's up to you and I as entrepreneurs to make sure that we find the people who are builders and the people who are employees. Some people are just looking for a job. And so in looking for a job, what they want is a clear delineated job description. They want boxes that they got to check. They want a process that they can go through, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. They want to have everything laid out for them. So when they come to work, they're going to follow that script, go home and collect their check. Most of us at the beginning stages of our businesses can't really afford people like that. That is the quickest way, in my opinion, that the corporate world has lost so much money, because too many of those types of people. As a small business, you need people who are engaged. You need people who not only can check the boxes and not only can do and will do what it is that you tell them that they need to do, but you need people that are thinking outside the box. You need people that can see opportunity that you can't see. You need people who can be where you can't be. You don't need somebody who just sitting there like, well, it ain't my job to sweep the floor. I know it's crumbs on the floor, but that ain't my job. If you get those kind of people, your business is going to suffer. And so think of it like that. In a brick and mortar business, that person whose job description that doesn't tell them to sweep the floor, telling you that that ain't in their job description, think about that in this service and virtual world that we live in. So you want that discerning person working with you who is results oriented, and that's what I do. So you could come and sit with me all day long. If you don't produce, then I'm not bringing you on board in my organization unless I say to you, hey, I need this particular position. This is exactly what I need you to do, and this is what I'm going to pay you to do. But these service providers who want to pretend like they on your level or higher than you, that can help you and they can do so much and always got something to say about this, that, or the other, then come produce it. If you've done that kind of work, you know so much about it, then come produce it. Let me see it. And then that's how we'll make a decision. And the last thing I'll say on this is I want you to start to be conscious of where your money goes. Because I don't give my money to bad places or people that don't like me or things that aren't productive. I'd much rather if I had $100, I'd much rather give it to somebody who's a builder and developer who I know is either going to help or both going to either or help my business get to the next level, or who are going to use this experience and take themselves to that next level, as opposed to somebody who's just sitting there going, I know it's crumbs on the floor, but I ain't sweeping it up because it ain't in my job description. See, I don't want my money going to that person. And at the end of the day, what we have to understand is that business is warfare. And you can't play the game the way your competitors are playing it and expect to win. You just can't. You got to come with it. You can play the game better, but depending on who they are, they may have advantages. So imagine if you got 10 people working with you and you got 10 go-getters, 10 producers, 10 people who are always bringing you deals, 10 people that keep you busy versus 10 people that you got to try to keep busy. All right, so that's it, y'all. Y'all got me. Now I'm shutting it down for the Sunday afternoon. I did not cover that like I said I would earlier when I went live. I hope that helps. I look for productivity. So I have no problem with working with anybody, but I have to see productivity. Unless it's a job that is etched in stone, like you're working security, you're doing this or that. And even then, I want your mind to be sharp. All right. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Make a donation, Cash App, $Mo today, MOETODAY, and join my mailing list. Text do for self, DO, the number 4, SELF to 855-574-9099. And tune in Wednesday to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. We're going to be talking to another emerging market leader and industry disruptor. His name is Trevin Coleman Avant, and he is an industry disruptor and a game changer in this fitness world. So we'll see you all Wednesday. I may come back out live. I may do it on IG this time. We'll see. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love y'all.